Earlier you were talking about like inclement weather conditions can affect your photos. And then you also mentioned the neutral density filter. So could you talk about how you use things like slow shutter speeds to eliminate rain and snow and moving variables from your photos if need be?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we use different filters for crime scene work. Neutral density is basically like sunglasses for the lens. It just allows you to get slower shutter speeds. So in the case of stuff moving by it, they're not captured. If your audience wants to look at a cool neutral density experiment that was done, just type in neutral density filter Grand Central Station. And what the photographer did was took a photograph during a busy part of the day, people walking through Grand Central Station. You could see everybody. The next photograph, he did a long exposure with the neutral density filter on, and you could only see people that were standing still. So the hundreds of people that are walking in front of the camera, you don't see them. They're not captured. So the same thing applies if we wanted to cut out rain or snow. You're just making a slower shutter speed so those individual drops of rain or snow don't get caught in front of the lens. Other filters that we use will be a polarizing filter, circular polarizing filter to cut out glare. We'll use filters, UV filters. The great thing about a UV filter is it protects the lens. And then we use colored filters for our alternate light source work. So if we go to a crime scene and there's, say, a sexual assault, and we're using blue light, we're going to use an orange filter. If we're using yellow light, we're going to use we use purple light or violet light, we're going to use a yellow filter. So there's certain filters that we'll use on the camera. And then other long exposure techniques that we'll use at a crime scene will be photographing, say, blue star or laser photography. So there's shooting reconstruction case, and you want to show that trajectory of the bullet with a laser. That's a long exposure. You're taking that photograph, or you have a crime scene that it's been cleaned up, and you're using blue star or luminol. Again, it's a long exposure to capture the chemiluminescence over time.
Right. And long exposure pretty much meaning keeping your shutter for a very long time.
Yeah, more than what you can handhold. More than a second is a long exposure. You can't really handle
Right.
a second, so a second is a long exposure, or it could be minutes. So you're at a crime scene, it's in a pitch black, you're in the middle of a cornfield, and you have evidence in that field you want to show, but your flash is only going to go a certain distance. It's only going to go 40, 50, 60 feet, and then everything else is going to be pitch black around it. We could use a technique called painting with light, where we leave that shutter locked open by the bulb feature of the camera, leaving the shutter locked open for a long period of time, and then we put light where we want with the flash. So we'll pop the flash off at different intervals in different locations inside that scene to see the scene in its entirety.
Okay. Okay. Which is a very cool trick. I don't know if I should call it a trick. I'll call it a technique. That's not right to call it a trick.
Technique.
Very very cool technique.